Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Nigel Green. He's he's advisor to founders and sales leaders. He's a sought-after sales advisor, author of Revenue Harvest, a sales leader's almanac for planning the perfect year. Welcome to the show, Nigel.
It's so good to be with you, Kaj. Thanks for having me.
You are welcome to the show. You are welcome to India in this online format. And I'm sure a lot of people, not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are talking about. We'll be talking about improving sales teams' performance. So my first question to you, Nigel, is to understand, that why do sales teams underperform suddenly after being performing so well? Is it that sudden change in environment, or there is something deeper than that?
So typically, there's no one single reason that sales teams stop performing. Okay, whether they're not ramping up as fast as you would like, or as you mentioned in the question, they were performing and then all of a sudden they're not. So it usually comes with a couple of reasons why. So if you're a sales leader, you may be listening to this and you're like, well, we're just not performing and I don't know why. So the first thing that you have to do as a sales leader to understand why your sales team isn't performing is you have to meet with customers. And a lot of sales leaders are like, well, that's seemingly so obvious. And I say, okay, well, great. But you probably are not out with your customers, meaning that something's changed. You were used to being in Zoom meetings and now maybe they're more interested in meeting face to face, or you're spending too much time in internal meetings or looking at reports, and you're not coaching or being with customers. So the answer to this, because you probably have multiple reasons why your sales team is no longer performing, is you have to get out from in front of your computer, get out of internal meetings and go sit with customers and ask the questions that your reps clearly aren't asking, because something has shifted and it's your job. It's our job as sales leaders to understand, is it a training issue? Is it a pricing issue? Is it a customer sentiment issue? And the only way you do that is go meet with customers. And it's a really simple solve, but sales leaders just don't do it. They say, well, that's not my job. My reps meet with the customers. No, when we're not performing, we have to go meet with customers.
Right. So all these people who are into the sales team or the sales leader or the senior management there, they all are, smart people. What is it that they are not able to see even over a period of time, even after doing all their scrutiny? Then you come in and you find out the reason. What is it that they don't see and you are able to see? Help us understand this part. Do you have some special equipment, some magic wand, or is it that you come with a due perception?
So what they don't see, it's more of what they assume is happening. Okay, so every time that I get brought in, whether it be to do an audit or to coach or advise, I ask them a series of questions like, are you doing this? Do you have this? And the answer is always yes, yes, yes. But upon further inspection, no, it's not happening. So I'll give you some examples. Are you training your reps? Yes. Okay, well, there's a very big difference between having a training program and running and asking your reps to go through all the training modules versus actually training your reps. And the way that you understand if you are training your reps is if you test your reps. So if you don't have testing involved in your training, you're not training your reps. They might say, well, we do one-on-one coaching. Okay, well, maybe you do one-on-one coaching. What's it look like? And when I go in and I inspect the one-on-one coaching, there's no coaching. It's actually status updates. The rep is coming in and telling them everything they did between the last time they spoke, and they're not getting any better. So we're not doing coaching. We can call the meeting whatever we want, but we're not doing it. Are we doing performance management? Yeah, we're doing that. No, we're not doing performance management because we're not clearly stating the expectation. Reps don't have job descriptions with metrics. They have general roles and responsibilities, but there's no stated expectation of results in certain key result areas over the period, whether month, week, day, whatever. We're not being clear around what's expected in the job, so we're not doing performance management. So what ends up happening is they assume because they in principle or in theory have meetings or certain motions set in place that they're actually doing it, and they're not. So it comes down to the teams that excel and consistently perform truly do the fundamentals and don't assume that the salespeople are getting trained or that the frontline sales managers are doing the coaching or performance management.
Absolutely, absolutely. So does this area of responsibilities only with the sales team, the sales leader, or actually when there is a problem, it goes beyond that? Others are also not pushing, say, marketing and all the related teams. They are not able to assist the sales team with whatever it's needed, or maybe their customer service has gone down and the sales team has nothing to do with that, and that is the problem that they are not trying to solve, or there is a problem with the perception of the products themselves and the sales team is not able to uh, say that very clearly. How do you look at this? Or is it just that everything has to be seen only purely from the sales teams or the sales leaders' point of view and perspective?
Well, we use the word sales leader. Okay. Well, all of the things that you just stated that may be seemingly outside of the sales function that can be problematic to the sales team is really an indictment on the sales leader. Because if you have someone in that role that can't explain to marketing what they need and get marketing to align with them and support them, or can't go to customer support and point out the obvious areas to improve our customer support function, you don't have a sales leader. You have a sales manager. They're very myopic in their focus, and they're only focused on the coaching, the training, the customer acquisition. They're not thinking about the buyer's journey, which includes different motions and functions before we sit down to have a sales conversation, and different motions and focuses after we transact to fulfill the obligation that we stated during the sales conversation. If you have someone in that role that can't pull all those cross functions together and come back to the management team and say, here are the challenges that stand in the way of the sales team being successful, you have a sales manager, not a sales leader.
Right, right. But then we just talked about that this team was performing very well till not some time, not long back, and suddenly the performance goes down. So where is the problem? Is it again with the sales leader, or is it something beyond him or her?
It's always the sales leader's problem, okay? And the reason I believe this is because there's a book that I love written by Jocko Willink called Extreme Ownership, and it's a book about Navy SEALs, and he talks about an exercise where they would race, the different SEAL teams would race in an inflatable raft. And what they learned is that there are no bad teams, only bad leaders. They could change the leader and not change any of the SEALs, and the leader would determine who would win that race. It's the same is true in business. When you have a sales leader that can't figure out why the team is stopped performing, even if the hindrance of the performance comes from another department, and they can't go build alignment and they can't share with the executive team what's changed in the business, you have a leadership problem.
Okay, okay. Let's come to the 7 sales leadership principles. You talk about that, to get consistent sales growth by utilizing the 7 sales leadership principle. Help us with these so that people can make their sales as consistent as you are doing it for others.
Yeah. So one of the oldest professions since the beginning of human time is farming. Okay. Sales is one of the oldest professions too, whether it was marketplace or whatever. Go back as early as you want. We've been having to sell things, including farmers. Farmers have to sell the crop. The difference between farmers and quote sales leaders is There are a lot of sales leaders that don't hit their number, but still claim to be a sales leader. I don't know any farmers that don't produce a crop that claim to be farmers. So what I did is I said, well, what is it about farmers? Because the interesting thing about farmers and sales leaders is there's so many uncontrollables. A farmer can't control the weather, can't control the price, can't, it's always too hot, too cold, price is bad, too much rain, not enough rain, uh, pesticides, uh, disease. There's all these things that stand in the way of a farmer being successful. Yet despite all the uncontrollables, they produce a harvest. Sales leaders have the same thing. Dynamics, black swan events like COVID, sales reps leave, customers leave. You can't pay enough to get the right people on the team that you need to be successful. There are all these uncontrollables. So how is it that farmers do it and sales leaders can't? So I went and interviewed a ton of farmers and realized that regardless of what they farm, where they farm, and the seasonality or the crop cycle, they follow these same principles. And that the 7 principles are planning. And so you go into the year with a plan. The plan itself is useless, but the exercise of planning is indispensable. Then, and the reason that's fun is because you can have a plan all you want, but then life's going to happen. But when you do planning right, you think of different contingencies, and the contingencies help you move faster when the plan's not working. Positioning. You can have a great plan, but if you haven't positioned it well, if your customers don't see it, if your team isn't bought in, it doesn't matter. You can plan well, position it well, but if you don't prepare the team, if you don't prepare the ground, if you don't prepare the market, marketing, training, hiring, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we have to plan, position, prepare, all of this before we plant. And then when we plant, we just expect the harvest. Well, there's typically 90 to 120 days or longer between, in the farming world, between putting seed in the ground before you go harvest. Any good farmer knows that you have to cultivate, you have to do herbicide, pesticide, pull weeds, water it. There's all this tending that has to happen. Yet we don't do that in sales. We plant and just expect that it's going to close. We don't do the proper tending. So plant, tend, then harvest. Okay. The 7th and most important principle is restore. And this is probably the most neglected in sales. Any good farmer knows that if you planted corn, you can't just go back in the next season and plant more corn. It has depleted the ground of vital nutrients that it needs before that next corn harvest. So you have to plant something else that will restore, replenish the ground, whether it be soy or wheat or some other crop. We are notoriously bad at this as sales leaders. We run our sales team ragged for 12 selling months and then give them a bigger number to go into the next year. No time to get better, no time to take a break, no time to replenish themselves. Just good job. Here's the next big number. Go get it. We also do this to our customers. We go and ask them to spend tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars with us, and then we don't make any investment in them. We don't add any value, and then we come back for the renewal and ask for them to spend more money. So we as sales leaders have to figure out, how do we restore our team? How do we restore our customer before we go into the next selling year? Farmers have figured this out, and if sales leaders, regardless of what your sales cycle is or when you're selling your starts, if you can figure out how to apply these 7 principles to your business, you're going to be fine.
Absolutely, absolutely. Is it easy to implement all these 7 principles in any business, or is it a
Any
tough
business.
job?
Any business can be, any business, whether it's direct to consumer, B2B, B2B to C. This is meant to be timeless in the same way that farming is timeless. You know, farmers have been subjected to technology and other changes in the same way the sales world has. Yet we're still farming. We just use better equipment. We use AI. We use self-driving combines. There's these advancements in seed and chemicals. We have the same thing in sales. We just have to learn how to use it and be good at it.
So why is it so difficult for businesses to implement this? Is it if farmers can do it, they have huge teams, they too can do it. Is it hesitancy to get into these nitty gritties? They just keep their eyes on some numbers, and that is. Yeah, Nigel, I guess you can hear me.
I'm here. Yeah, I can hear. Yeah. Is it hesitancy?
Right. Or is it that they just don't care? Or because they know that we have to give these numbers to the sales team, and if they need to keep the job, they will achieve those numbers.
They don't understand that what got you here may not get you where you need to go. They can't pivot and quick. They don't understand how to quickly adopt and pivot. And it's as simple as that.
Right, right. I think then that the problem is very much clear. They need to meet more farmers like you met farmers and came out with these 7 principles which can guide a lot of business leaders. Maybe if they are not able to meet the farmers, you have your book, Revenue Harvest. Tell us about this book. Who is this book for? Will it help the leaders who don't have the time to go and meet the farmers?
It's for any founder or sales leader that has an offering that they're taking to market and they can't afford to miss their sales number. That's who this book is for.
Right. Can you tell us a bit more about, because not everyone will be able to consult you, being you a very busy person and be on the other part.
What the book's going to do is it's going to break down each of those 7 principles that I just ran through and told you that farmers. It's going to give you practical, tactical exercises that you can do with your team to ensure that you are practicing those 7 principles. It's going to teach you how to plan better, how to position your plan, how to do good sales training, how to do good prospecting, what good account management or lead management looks like, how to close better, and then lastly, how to restore your customers and how to restore your reps. It's going to give you really practical advice, regardless of what you're selling, that'll help you figure out how to hit your number any season, any market, any climate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is, I guess, a lot to learn about these things, and I guess many more things are very basic. So for those people who want to, learn more about you, and also those who want to engage with you professionally, Nigel, what's the best way for them to do so?
Really easy. So you can go to my website, Nigel Green, Nigel Green, spelled just like the color, .co. You can find the book, you can find courses, you can find articles, you can find PDFs, a lot of free content that'll help you figure out how to go further faster with your sales team.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Once they find you, they will find back their sales. That I can.
That's right.
Tell.
That's right.
With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, guys.